Hey, Gary here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about two things. One, why am I so interested in oil and gas these days? Why am I talking about it? And then secondly, how I got into oil and gas. Let's start with the how very briefly. So through my consulting business, which I'm still doing, led me to the oil and gas industry where I coached and helped develop teams out in the Permian Basin. So I got so lucky with that assignment and that client, one of the big independent oil and gas producers out in the Permian Basin. And I taught them, but I think they taught me just as much. So they taught me about how to extract oil and gas, all the technology related to it. Very short progression after that, my good friend Barry decided he wanted to create an oil and gas business. And he started to acquire oil and gas leases and said, "Hey, Gary, are you interested? Let me tell you about this." So I went there and yeah, the two of us worked together and I invested. We got some other people to invest and we started acquiring more assets and little by little built up quite a good portfolio in that area. So anyway, that taught me all about capital raising. It taught me about being a limited partner, being a general partner, how to structure deals, how the oil and gas deals work themselves, and all the money sides, the operation side and money side. So that's how I got into it. Now, why have I stuck with it? Why do I like it? Well, a couple reasons, and very similar to why a lot of people want to get into alternative assets. So number one, cash flow is very good. Number two, the tax advantages are there that you don't get through public market equities. And then three, it's to that last point, kind of divorced and separated from the public market. So that's a big part. In addition to that, specifically for oil and gas, why you would want to be in oil and gas versus maybe apartments or some other things like that right now, the wind is really in the sales of oil and gas. So the last several years, there's been an underinvestment in oil and gas, and that has left a gap. So we're still meeting production, but it's about to come where there's going to be some constraints on production. So in order to keep that production up, we're going to have to continue to invest. So the investors who are getting in now, I think, are really in a good seat because they can be able to acquire good cash flowing assets and probably be in a good position for good sustained prices going forward. So I think that's a good reason. And oil and gas is not going away. There was a lot of information out there over the last several years talking about transition is inevitable and oil and gas is a dinosaur and fossil fuels are just going to go away. It's not in the foreseeable future. So it's a huge part. It's still about 85% of worldwide energy consumption. That and the fact that even just if energy stayed stable, we're going to still rely heavily on oil and gas. But the fact is, it really seems like the demand for energy is doing nothing but increasing. AI and data centers and all that sort of information processing, things that are moving electrons around consume a huge amount of energy. And we're going to need energy of all stripes. So we're going to need nuclear, wind, solar, and of course, oil and gas and natural gas. And the other thing that is going on is the other thing why I like oil and gas, people forget about the gas part. So you've got oil, which is a liquid oil, which is for fuel and heating and petroleum products and all sorts of things like that. But also you have natural gas. It's its own distinct commodity. And going forward, there's been a lot of additional capacity that's been built on the Gulf Coast for exports of liquefied natural gas. So you cool that down, you can put it on a shipping container and send it to Europe. And that really comes back to another point of why I love oil and gas is because it's here. It's in the United States. It's something we can control. And it's not so moved by what's going on in worldwide politics. So I think we're a good source for stability in the world through supporting oil and gas. And I think it makes a lot of economic sense too. So anyway, I hope that kind of clears some things up for you about why Gary's talking to you about oil and gas and how I can speak on oil and gas with some authority. I'm learning all the time. Every time I learn something, I want to share with other people. And so education is part of the mission here as well. So anyway, hope this finds you well, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.